you heard of what I like to call Ostrich Osheaga? You know, when a bunch of far-right freedom convoy influencers, health nuts, anti-vaxxers, and even RFK Jr. himself waged war on the Canada Food Inspection Agency? After a court ruled the agency, the CFIA, could cull a herd of ostriches in BC to control an avian flu outbreak? Well, my friends at Canada's National Observer got some wild insider information on just how bad the harassment of the CFIA got, and the impact it had on the communications of this essential government agency. So, for the second time this week, I am thrilled to be partnering with Canada's National Observer to tell you guys this story. First, a bit of context. Long, convoluted story short, when the flock at Universal Ostrich Farm in BC started showing symptoms of bird flu, the farmers were required to report it to the CFIA. Seeing as, you know, bird flu could very well cause our next pandemic. There haven't been many human cases yet, but when there are, bird flu can kill as many as half of those infected. So more than 10 times as deadly as COVID, for reference. But the farmers didn't report it. They covered some of the dead birds with tarps instead. And when an anonymous tip brought the CFIA to the doorstep of the Universal Ostrich Farm, confirming the outbreak and ordering a cull, the farmers claimed some of the birds who lived had antibodies in their eggs and blood and would be able to detect and treat everything from avian flu to COVID. So they wanted to get an exemption from the cull, but didn't bother doing all the paperwork required to actually get it. Instead, they launched a social media and legal fight against the CFIA, kicking Ostrich Osheaga into full swing, as a Freedom Convoy adjacent crowd camped out around the farm, holding concerts, wearing ostrich costumes, performing baptisms, flashing boobs at government drones, and crying a lot. And warned the CFIA, quote, "You will all perish and rot for being part of this evil." If things were this wild offline, you can only imagine how bad it was online. Thanks to a briefing note Canada's National Observer reporter Mark Fawcett Atkinson obtained through an access to information request, we know just how bad things got. Turns out the CFIA had to lock down its social media accounts for weeks this spring after a federal judge backed the ostrich cull. That decision and ensuing outrage prompted a, quote, spike in online abuse and threats, including the, quote, unauthorized sharing of employee images and deepfake content. This meant, for example, they limited the visibility of the CFIA's X account to followers, and only posted critical updates such as recalls. But by June, the lockdown became untenable. The government needs to be able to communicate with people, in part to prevent the spread of the kind of disinformation that got us here in the first place. So officials started a phased reopening, which saw the agency slowly re-engage on social media using, quote, neutral science-based content with no employee images and blocked comments. This all comes as internal documents the National Observer obtained from last year warned that the CFIA's work is increasingly threatened by attacks on its reputation and a broader distrust in science and government institutions. Should be fine, right? I mean, they're just the agency that makes sure our food doesn't kill us. Anyway, head over to the National Observer's website to read the whole juicy article. Then come back here and tell me, what do you think of all this?